Hello and welcome. My name is Mwalimu and you're watching Mwalimu Digital Show on Mwalimu TV. I'm glad that you're watching. We have yet another opportunity to have an informative, empowering conversation on matters to do with education, technology, and innovation. And to help us with that conversation, I have a friend of mine, our guest, Mr. Jackson Kimeu. Mr. Jackson Kimeu, karibu sana.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for this opportunity. My name is Jackson Kimeu. I'm an ICT professional with more than 13 years experience with a specialty in cloud governance, cloud security, cyber security, and other different avenues in ICT. Right? I'm also an ICT consultant, and I normally write articles and get them published in different medias.
You have said quite a number of things. It's quite a mouthful. Maybe make us understand that when you say cloud governance, when you say cyber security, can you put it in a more moderate language for somebody to really be able to position in as the kind of services that you provide, while you provide them, if you don't mind.
Talk about cloud governance. It's all just about rules and regulations in the cloud, right? Because we do have many clients who want to push their workloads from premises to the cloud, and therefore cloud governance is critical, whereby we have to ensure there are particular fundamentals that are looked at, issues to do with data security. I consult further in corporate sector, in private sector, but purely I do consultation in cloud governance. Yeah.
So the question may come to our viewer watching here. We want to ask, where exactly do you use cloud? How do you use cloud? Because of course, we don't talk about the clouds that give us the rate. It's just cloud computing, having services on the cloud. Would you help our viewer understand exactly what you mean by cloud computing? How they interact with the cloud? What are some of the services that they enjoy, but they should do not understand or appreciate? It's part of what we're doing.
Right. You see, ideally, there is a very thin difference between when you have hosted your workloads, or what they call the data, on the premises, and maybe probably you have hosted your data in the cloud. When you push your data to the cloud, there are extremely so many benefits. As an end user, there are things that you drop them away, right? Like having an expense of always purchasing new infrastructure on the premise, and ensuring there are particular areas that you always look at. Yeah? It becomes very expensive to maintain those particular equipments on premise. So when you push your workloads to the cloud, then you are advancing in matters of you can always access your services and not physically in a particular area.
Good. So Mr. Kimeu, we are looking at the issue of cloud computing, cloud services, and you have made a clear point that you strongly feel that they are good providers and they have really set compute down, and getting them is not a problem. But then the question of uptake of that technology also depends on the demand side. The demand side means what kind of things, what is the principal data in the school things. Now this young man who is setting up a business and he wants to do online business. Would you make him and appreciate why cloud is the best way to go?
All right. One of the biggest avenues that needs to purely be pipelined across to Mwananchi is that cloud is very much available and very reliable. And in terms of security, it's one of the platforms that have very high security for hosting or keeping your workloads there. So awareness is one of the key things that needs to be pushed, and ensure that we have reached at least 70 to 80% awareness to Kenyans that the way to go is the cloud.
Thank you. So what do you say about the issue of internet connectivity and the internet accessibility, internet affordability? Because you are unlikely to consume cloud services if you don't have broadband internet connectivity at your location, at your site. How do you deal with that? if this person is on the long side of town, he's in Nyeri, he's in Kandosweni, he's on Dadaab, how do you deal with the issue of internet accessibility and affordability?
All right. In our nation, we see a great benefit and advancement in internet penetration, right? Around some few days ago, Safaricom, they launched their 5G, so which means we are doing very well. But I would say that internet penetration to many parts of the country, especially the rural areas, it's really a little bit behind. So many areas in rural doesn't have internet, and internet is a great tool for all these kind of involvements that we are talking about. So in terms of connectivity and awareness to the right users, which are the end users, is that we need to move swiftly in ensuring that we have done a great connectivity
and affordability. Could you speak to
and when you look now to cost to the end users, right? The connectivity itself, because we have communication authority who does what we call spectrum regulation, and it's an authority that currently is doing quite well. Yeah, if you look at one or 2 years ago, accessibility of internet and bandwidth, it was very, very expensive in Kenya. But CA is doing great regulation to the spectrum industry. That is the mobile service providers, internet service providers.
So are we going in the near future to have what we may call highly affordable broadband internet covering the whole, all the 47 counties?
Exactly.
In a span of around, what will they take?
In a span of around 3 to 4 years, internet will be very cheap in the country.
3 to 4 years from now?
Yes. Yeah.
I think you agree with me that will also impact the deployment of cloud services.
Definitely, because there are so many sectors that really needs to push workloads to the cloud. We talk into the education sector, health sector, because the world is moving to what we call smart world, smart cities, smart healthcare, smart education, and all that, right? So the issue of ensuring that internet connectivity is reliable and costly, cheap to users, it is the way to go, because that is the only way that these particular end users, they can be able to accept technology and adopt it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right. So that one has been a kind of a brief of exactly what you do, and I think you have said that cloud computing is one of your strong areas. But I'll be also be glad to know, for you to get there, you went to school. And I tend to think that digital literacy, digital skills is one thing that certainly we shall need to ensure that we are appropriate all the benefits that can come with high internet penetration. So my viewer, especially a young man who is just clearing class 8 or form 4, I would be glad to hear your story. How did you get yourself there to be an expert in cloud computing, cybersecurity, all this? Where did you go to school? Maybe we can start from there.
Right. Thank you. Currently, I'm doing some very high-level international certifications in cloud governance.
As you talk, you're still a student?
Yes.
All right.
24/7 learning is inevitable, right? But let me roll back to a little bit about my educational background. I finished my diploma back in 2006.
I want to push it a little bit further.
Yes.
Take me down all the way to primary, secondary, coming up. Just give us a number. The reason I'm asking, I would want us to take us through that journey, because I would want the viewer to appreciate what it takes for somebody to end up being quite resourced and skilled in, especially the tech industry. And I want him to have the feeling that actually it is possible. So if you just take us far back, in primary school, secondary school, so that somebody can see the journey and somebody say, yeah, I think I can also do it.
Yeah.
Right. Let's go there.
So back in around 20 years ago, of course I did my primary level. That was finished my standard 8 in 1999, and from there I moved to high school. My primary school was Mkanda Primary School, that is in Makueni County, Kibwezi East, Ivingoni Zambani Ward, and I moved to high school, Darajani Secondary School, up to around 2003.
Where is Darajani? It's
also in Makueni. yes, Kibwezi, East Evela, right? But again, I'll say that during that period, technology, internet in Kenya was slightly to
it was a stage
25%.
It was a stage concept that.
Yes, right. But now with my advancement in the same career, when I finished Form 4, I love technology very much, and I decided to take a career into it, and with the resilience and ensuring that I'm moving on well, I started my career in technology, whereby, of course, I started with a diploma. I did management information systems.
Where did you do it?
Where
you'll be curious to find out where you.
Mombasa Polytechnic University College, right? And then from there, I joined for a degree program in KU. Which still haven't finished. I think I'll be able to be graduating by towards December of this year. But coming to the technology market, right? I understood that the way to go is to advance your soft skills of technology with international certifications, right? So back in 2013, I joined Technobrain Limited, whereby I certified myself with the CCNA, that is a Cisco Network Associate. I advanced to CCNP, I advanced to CCNP Security, and currently in avenues of Cisco, I'm remaining with to do CCIE.
Back a little bit for some particular reason. Where you went to secondary school, did you do computer studies? I'm just curious. You didn't do computer studies?
No.
Now, the reason I'm asking that is that what is your take about present day? When you talk about CBC, we're talking about digital literacy. How do you say this person who is not doing computer studies today, you didn't have the privilege of doing it that time, but somehow you're able to, out of your passion and curiosity and interest and self-drive, you have been able to gain so much. How do we reconcile the fact that you have said we are going to a smart world, and we have some instances where a learner is not getting that opportunity to do computer studies, digital literacy? How do we manage that?
Right. You see, education is a vehicle for social and economic change. If you try to look at very advanced countries like United States of America, Finland, Singapore, they have very high adopted education system, and with that they have very remarkable economic change, right? So I look education in future being smart.
As far as computer learning is concerned, as far as computer studies are concerned, as far as digital literacy is concerned, what do we need to do at individual level, as a parent, at the school level, at the national level, policy setting? What do you think we need to do?
There is something that we call career advice. And even not talking about technology, you realize that many graduates coming from universities, they might not understand their next level of advancement, right? So you find career advice is very key. Someone who wants to advance in technology, let's say you have finished computer science, you have done information technology in a university, and now you need to grow, right? Some certifications, they are very key. Technology needs to be adopted in the curricula of primary school, high school, or through. Yeah. So that if someone is graduating from a lower level of primary school, should have soft skills for digital literacy, because that is first avenue whereby that particular individual will be able to know.
Would you break down these soft skills? Can you give us components? Specifically, what do you think at the bare minimum a learner maybe at the primary school level should be able to demonstrate, have competence? The question is, how do we ensure that our learners, by the time they are coming of a particular age, they have acquired those skills?
You see, I'll take you straight away to our CBC classes. We lack infrastructure in our schools. I can say around 50-60%, right? So we need to have what we call computer labs, very well equipped computer lab in schools, so that when we are initiating a particular class of our people, they can be able to get the tools there to use. intact.
Allow me to come in, and I want to come on very clearly. I agree with you. It's almost a fact. We may not have data in our fingertips to demonstrate this, but we are Kenyans. We are going to those schools, so we take our children there. Then would it be too much then to say that we are ready for CBC?
Good. You see, CBC, we have what we call very short-term solutions and permanent solutions, right? CBC is here to stay because CBC, being a competency curriculum, it is the way to go for us to achieve very many advancements, achievements in the future, right? So, as a nation, we can say yes.
But you are just mentioned, which is true. I'm not second guessing you on this. I agree with you.
Yes.
We look at the digital readiness of our schools.
Yes.
Look at the digital readiness of our teachers. We are scoring very low.
Yes.
But here we are saying CBC is a good thing. And in fact, this is a good thing. It promises a very good thing. Then the question is, if the digital readiness is not in place in terms of human resources, in terms of resources, the physical resources, computer labs, would it then not be fair to say we are not ready for CBC, we delay it a little bit for another 10 years or 5 years, then get ourselves ready, then bring it back?
You see, there is what we call continuity in education. If right now you check the number of classes for CBC that we have, around 6 to 7 classes
they are now.
now.
6, the highest level is 6. They are going to junior secondary. So
when we talk about now stopping CBC, we are putting ourselves in a hot soup.
You're watching Mwalimu Digital on Mwalimu TV. We are glad that you're watching. And we have been having this conversation with my friend Mr. Jackson Kimeu, where we are looking at the place of technology, both for the outgoing system, the 844 system, as the incoming CBC. And we have this element in the room. As far as the CBC, coding starts as early as grade 4. And the big question is, are our teachers ready to do coding? What percentage of our teachers, for example, are competent in any one coding language? Mr. Kimeu.
All right, thank you very much. I will say that our teachers still, quite percentage, are not ready for the coding. Why? Because they are not trained. They need to be trained. Yeah, a particular percentage, around we can say 85% of the teachers, they are not literate in coding. So I think the government, through the current CBC task force, they need to look in that matter. They need to come up with a framework how teachers they can be taken back for digital literacy and ensure that they have been equipped with the right skills.
The question arises then.
Yes.
Was it a very good idea then to say that we need to be coding at this point, if at all we are sure, or we have a feeling that 80 to 90% of teachers are not competent for coding? Was it a good idea to include it? Would it not have been a better, maybe to defer it, or maybe not to include it at all?
As all we have been saying that the CBC is a very good curriculum. It's only that the initialization of the framework wasn't initiated well, right? And because we understand that education is a progressive thing, right? We cannot say that we are going to drop coding because the teachers are not ready. We understand.
We are just not ready for it. Teachers are not competent. How are they going to teach what they cannot, what they don't know?
There are particular classes already who have gone, like 2, 3, 4 classes. They have not been trained on coding.
That's an injustice. That's an injustice. That is a loss on so many children.
Right. So that's why we are saying that within a very short period of time, the government needs to look at the matter CBC very seriously, right?
Keep it coding.
Yes.
The big question is this. You have already put it. Okay, I haven't done research. I hope you have also. You don't have the actual data. We have learners who have gone through grade 4, grade 5, grade 6, who are now progressing junior secondary early next year, who are, according to science curriculum or learning area at the CBC primary school level, they are supposed to have been taught coding. So are you saying it is very, very possible that those learners will proceed to junior secondary, being expected to be competent in coding, but not competent? Are you saying that?
Not really. As I've told you that those particular classes have gone already, past not doing the coding, and it is in the curriculum. There are some matters that we cannot roll back and start doing it again.
Yes.
At this juncture, this level, as the way the curriculum is, we need to come up with framework, as I've told you, to ensure that that particular coding is done. And this is taking back the teachers immediately to school and ensure that that area is covered and they can be able to deliver fully in school.
Therefore, I want to imagine that you are aware that most of them are not. The curriculum is helical. It goes down. Like that. So the big question to ask is this: if they were not taught coding at grade 4, at grade 5, at grade 6, they might encounter the same coding when they go to the higher levels. Are the teachers handling those higher levels themselves? Are they ready to teach coding at those higher levels?
Of course they will. We just need to come up with a mechanism.
Are they ready now? That's the question I'm asking.
They are not ready now.
So what's going to happen?
There is a mechanism in place to ensure that those particular percentage we have talked about, they are going to be trained and be able to deliver. Now, so let's say, for example, they have passed, like students have passed grade 3, grade 4, all the way from grade 1 they have not been taught coding, and they should be taught coding. If they go to grade 5, 6, if the teachers will have been trained.
What if they're not trained?
They are going to be trained. Because I think with the task force, those are factors that they are
maybe we should look at this conversation from different perspectives. Why coding? Why are we insisting on doing coding when you're not ready to work coding?
Because that is the future. That is where the future is. We are moving to smart world, and we need to ensure that the children that are coming out of school, they are really, really skilled with all these avenues. So you will come to interact with very complex environment in matters of advanced technology. They already started this thing long way back.
But I'm trying to
some students in third world countries. You will find just a minute. You will find that a student is in grade 2, grade 3. They are doing coding. You will never compare such a student.
Maybe what you need to help me understand, what will help me to understand, and the viewer who is watching us there, especially the teacher and especially the parent, what you need to help us understand is, when you say coding, what exactly do you mean? And I would also want to limit this conversation to the competence on the part of the teacher to deliver this coding. So first things first, when you say coding, what do you mean? What is this thing you're calling coding? What does it entail? What are the competence? How do you demonstrate competence in coding?
Good. Coding, it's just all about programming, coming up with a software, automation, digital innovation, trying to ensure that you have come with a different, new way of delivering a particular task within a very short period of time, and that's all moving from manual to digital. It starts from coding. You train soft skills, how you can use different programming languages like VB, Visual Basic, C++, C#, and so many other programming languages.
As we talk now, if you're going to do coding, if we say coding, it is in our best interest to continue with coding, are you in a position to help us understand, help the viewer understand, which language are our learners at the primary school level now being taught coding in? Are you aware which language they are? Because I don't think you can teach all the languages at once.
True. Of course, there are very complex languages that small skills they cannot be able to understand. But as per the curricula, there are programming languages that are set for our kids.
Which ones? At this point in time, a child in grade 4 today, which language is being taught in? Do you know?
Okay, that part I can say that I might not be knowing the programming languages for the young kids.
I see disaster here. Now here is a problem. An issue that we are telling the teacher to teach coding, but they're not even telling which language to code in. I think, are we not going to create more confusion in the minds of the learner?
That's why we say that CBC readiness in Kenya, it was a bit challenged. Right? There are so many critical areas that needs to be looked at.
So if we have to hand a chance, if we got a chance to work with the PWP, the presidential working party currently, which is going now in all the counties, would you tell them that they should retain coding, or would you tell them to stop CBC, stop coding, we're not ready for it, let's revert back to it?
I will advise them amicably that CBC should not be stopped. CBC is one of the best curricula that we can.
What about coding in CBC? The
coding in CBC, it still needs to be adopted, but it needs to be picked when our teachers are going to be ready for it.
When shall they be ready?
They need to be taken.
When shall they be ready?
It should be
according to you. According to you, how long do you think it will take?
The task force, they should not even take more than 6 months, right? They should take very few months, come up with a framework, and swiftly implement it. If it's taking back the teachers for the digital literacy classes, they should do it immediately. Now you see, during this period,
at one point in time, Mr. Kimeu, when CBC was mooted for the first time, there was this push and pull, and especially between the government and the Kenya National Union of Teachers, where the Kenya National Union of Teachers made the argument, right or wrongly, that you have to train us back. And if you don't train us, then this thing will not continue. That's also almost a standard. Yes. So how do you deal with this scenario? Well, we have already said, it's coming from you. We said 80% of our teachers are not competent in coding per se.
True.
So when you say we are going to train them, and there is, okay, fine, yes, we are ready for the training, but give us a time off of maybe 2-3 years. How are we not going to go back to where we came from? Push and pull between teachers, the government, and how do we ensure that we have a smooth implementation where you are saying, and I agree with you, that coding could be a good thing to be done. The question is readiness, especially on the part of the teacher. If the teacher doesn't have the competence, he cannot pass on the same competence to a child.
Very true. The readiness is not there. The readiness is not there.
So what do we need to do?
We advocate for several projects to be implemented concurrently, right? With that, there are avenues that yes, we have not executed very well, but we can correct that gap and ensure still education is going on. Remember, education is progressive.
We are looking up to you as an expert. You
Yes.
are an IT expert. You have done this thing. You have been there. You have done that. Could you be just humble and help us out? Okay, we want to continue with coding. Now I understand. How do we go about it? Or we can even look at it differently. If I'm a parent and I appreciate the place of CBC, I appreciate the place of coding, how could you assist me to start off with my child today, so I don't have to wait for tomorrow, so we don't have this it appears like a battle of wits?
See, even those students who have finished 2 to 3 years without the coding classes, right? That's why we are advocating to even homes. Parents now, they should now start thinking of having digital equipment in the house, having a desktop or even a laptop, a printer there, some 1, 2, 3, 4 things, right? So that students, they can be able to do something. But again, let's roll back to the real thing, which is following the curriculum. The coding has not been done majorly in many schools. Maybe the private school, they have done it, yeah. But now, the big elephant is we have many teachers in CBC who are not digital literate, right? If, for real, that we had a lot of conversation where to go, are we going to adopt CBC or we are going to drop it, right? I think the government, through the task force that we are talking about, they should take the shortest time possible coding.
Thank you. We are running towards the end of this program. I will give you a chance to make a closing remark. I appreciate your presence. I appreciate your passion for matters to do with education, matters to do with CBC. What do you have to say as a closing comment?
Thank you very much. My advice, and majorly even to the whole nation, is that the future of CBC is going to be smart CBC. So the big question to us as a nation is, are we ready for such change? And if we are not ready, what is supposed to be done immediately to ensure we have progressive attainability of this huge project that is ahead of us?
Thank you very much. I will come back to you.
Yes.
I certainly need your input, and you can agree with me that we have a valuable resource, Mr. Kimeu. We will call you back. This matter is not concluded. We have a lot of questions still hanging in the air. We still invite more comments from our viewer.
Thank you.
In case you have a comment, you have a query, check out our Facebook pages, look at what we have to say, give us your opinion, and we will accommodate. And at that point, we say goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you very much.